नमस्ते चित्रा जी, नमस्ते आयति जी, नमस्ते डॉक्टर भावना जी। हरिओम। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। हरिओम। Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Anything? Yes, please. Confirm the link and move ahead. Yeah, all right, Chitraji. Yes, please.
Yeah, we see that Dr. Nirodbaran was still not convinced about the avatar related aspect. He agrees that avatars are not having any personal gains, but says that there seems to be an element of selfishness. So, to which Sri Aurobindo replies that the divine is doing it for the greater will, and it's not something of an individual gain, and terms selfishness to be only for one's own sole benefit. So this was something that we saw, and that kind of selfishness, if it's going to be termed as selfishness, it is okay. And also there were some
Because it
flaws
is
in
for the greater
greater.
good, isn't it? It is not for they're not doing it for themselves. So this is the selfishness term itself was wrong, is what Sri Aurobindo said, to call the avatar.
And there were also some flaws in Dr. Nirodbaran's theory about the latency aspect. He was drawing conclusions that just because it's not seen to the observer, it doesn't mean that it's not there. Just because it's not on the surface mind, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in the minds deeper. This is about the various other elements or the inner capacities related to new talents, that aspect what we kept seeing in the last few classes. And Sri Aurobindo also says that he wants people, yeah, who are, or I mean, basically Dr. Nirodbaran, he was stuck at certain arguments that the divine can't do certain things. Basically, this can't aspect, so which hinders progress. So basically, Dr. Sri Aurobindo wanted Dr. Nirodbaran to come out of that aspect and move ahead. And he also says that he should be careful with the choice of words, even if they are being put out in a humorous way, especially about negative forces, as they can create an opening and one may become receptive to those forces. I think some Dr. Nirodbaran.
Yeah, I lost your last word. What did you say,
Yes.
Chitraji? Maybe there was a network drop at my end. No, I can't hear
Am I
you.
audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Okay, I think there's a lag, but I'll just try.
Yeah, okay. We can hear you.
Okay. So I think there was a word called demonic or something that was used by uh, Dr. Nirodbaran when he was trying to tell something to Sri Aurobindo about in a humorous way. So Sri Aurobindo says that one should not use those even in a humorous way. And also, Sri Aurobindo tries to cheer up Dr. Nirodbaran with positivity whenever he expresses despair about certain aspects related to progress and sadhana. And it can be, or certain aspects why he is unsure that he is not feeling the best. So, Sri Aurobindo says that if there is no reason to be unhappy, even, I mean, if there's no reason, one person should not be unhappy.
Hmm.
So these were
Yeah.
some of the important points that we saw.
Yes. Thank you very much, Chitraji, for bringing us up to date. So I think this is something important that we shouldn't get complacent. That is probably why Sri Aurobindo is asking Dr. Nirodban also to be alert, not to use words casually also. Though he is under the aegis of Sri Aurobindo, under the protection of Sri Aurobindo, under the guidance of Sri Aurobindo, still Sri Aurobindo is telling him, don't say like that because we do not want to. invite unnecessary hurdles, isn't it? Just because you have strength, does that mean you have to keep fighting with people? You don't have to. You don't have to. So you can avoid. That is a means. What we can say, the minimum conflict. You can. The least resistant path is always the best path if you want to, save your energies for a greater work. You don't want to expend unnecessarily. So this aspect of complacency was probably hidden behind that statement, which Sherwin pointed out. Regarding the other aspects, it is still a continuation of the same thing what Dr. Nirodbaran was saying, that latency or it is not present. This ability of manifestation is something very special in our universe. Even in the Vedantic texts, Ekoham Bahusyami, from nothing, like the supreme divine created into the mold of the universe. What was not there, something came into existence. Gita also talks about it. Krishna says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam. I will give you that knowledge. I will give you that wisdom. When we say Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langhayate Girim, this is the capacity which is inherent inside every living being. We all have that potential. We must never deny that potential, not by our statements, not by our actions, not even by our thoughts. Many times, our thoughts, we very much underestimate the power of our thoughts. Very good, positive, strong thoughts can allow us to go ahead in a big direction, and sometimes life changing decisions take place because of our thoughts. Imagine if somebody says, I am bound by this, and is always bound by it because of the thought only. That person never tries to become free. What is this? This is just a state of mind, isn't it? Many times in life, we have to learn to at least overcome this limitation of thoughts. And that is why we must surrender to the divine. If surrender is not complete, or if surrender is not fully realized, then these doubts arise. So maybe we can say Dr. Nirodbaran is moving closer towards the path of surrender properly, but somewhere he is refusing, and that is why he is opposing what Sri Aurobindo is saying. So let us continue. Sri Aurobindo's, this was a letter written by Dr. Nirodbaran. He says, Your grandeur and austerity imposed themselves not on this common sense lacking poor man alone, but on others too. I will say that common sense is highly uncommon, like yogic faculties. However, I am waiting to write in detail as soon as the signal is down. So here, Dr. Nirodhan is telling that this common sense is highly uncommon, just like how yogic faculties are talked about. He says, no, you are whatever, so like as Krishna was told by Arjuna, isn't it? What you tell is not very practicable to me, or I am not able to, it's not resonating with me. I don't find any meaning to what you are telling me. Well, something very similar we see in Arjuna. In Nirodharan, he is asking, no, I don't understand it at all, he says. Sri Aurobindo is replied, common sense is exceedingly uncommon in this ashram. Sometimes I think the mother and myself alone have our stock left unexhausted, and all the rest have sent theirs flying sky high. However, so he's saying, see, in this ashram, and this is that time, huh? 1935. He's saying, this is missing in the ashram. Common sense, I'm not able to see. Only myself and mother is. Now, we should not take it literally, of course. It's just humorous, okay? That is important. Otherwise, somebody will again quote that and it creates. Nowadays, we are having very, very nice controversies arising out of anything. So, we're just reading with a good intention. Nobody needs to feel bad about it. Let's continue. Dr. Nirodban writes Our poisoned patient, V, has, to our surprise, recovered. Our medical authority says that castor oil seeds are highly toxic and that 10 seeds are the extreme limit. This chap took more than 3 times 10. Is medical science mistaken? Or has your force worked? Or is it the antidote? Or cow dung given by some villagers? that has did the miracle, that did the miracle. So some patient was admitted with poisoning. He had consumed what we say castor seeds and not, I don't know how he managed to consume also, that's very difficult. But not just, he's like 3 times 10, 30 of them. It's much, much higher. And yet he has recovered. So Dr. Nirodbaran, as the doctor, is asking, so what's the reason? Is it your force? Is it the antidote? Or is it that magical cow dung given by villagers that has done the miracle? Sri Aurobindo replies, perhaps it was force plus the cow dung that did it. You know the proverbial probabilism. Trust in God and keep your powder dry. So, open the force and keep your cow dung handy. Would be the recipe for castor oil seed eaters. By the way, we are told we advised DRR to take the poison, and he himself takes 5 grains at a time as a joy dose. Is this fact or legend? So another some sadhak is there. It is almost illustrating the fact that in the last statement, Sri Aurobindo had talked about common sense not being so common. So here, despite its what we can say horrible effects, there is still somebody who is taking 5 grains. Is calling it a joy dose. It's a very interesting sarcastic joke that Sri Aurobindo has cracked. Open the force and keep your cow dung handy. So you will be able to treat castor oil seeds poisoning. Now today somebody should not literally take it as this is the what we can say antidote for somebody who has got castor oil poisoning. They will also say open to the force and keep cow dung handy. Let's continue. Namaste Rajiv ji. Hari Om. Yes, let's continue. Nirodbaran says R has submitted the latest report, he says. Sri Aurobindo replies, I have no report from R, but I gather from you that he has rallied and is at least on the way to cure. The books give 48 hours for the period of the poisoning. So I suppose if he is not only alive but kicking and lively at noon tomorrow, we may consider him safe. Nirodban, this is in relation to a previous letter, 15 to 1935. Do you mean seriously that you will never forsake this humble pie? Sri Aurobindo replied, of course, and underlined. What does this humble pie mean and what is this never forsake? Anybody? What is Dr. Nirodbaran talking about here? Anybody? Can you give me the context? Is it another
Is he
special?
talking about that, like his guru is not gonna leave him at all, like humble
Yeah,
pie?
absolutely,
Talking about
absolutely.
himself.
He's calling himself ordinary humble pie and he's saying, do you really mean that? Do you really mean that you will never let me go? You will never forsake me? Do you really mean it? Yes, sir. Rajiv ji. Yes, sir.
Could somebody help me with the page number?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm unable to hear you. Once more, can you repeat, sir?
Could somebody tell me the page number?
Page number. We are, yes, somebody from the newer edition who is
Can
having.
somebody tell me the page number that we are in?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Got it. Somebody who has a newer edition.
179.
Sorry,
179.
179. Okay, thank you very much.
Please,
Thank you.
sir.
Yes.
All right. So now here, as Johiji rightly said, this is Dr. Nirodbaran asking about himself. And he's asking, seriously, you will never forsake me? And Sri Aurobindo replies, of course. And he's underlined it. Now, this simple question and answer is a very special one, isn't it? And that, of course, is a promise of the Guru to the Shishya that I'll never leave you. This is something like a great, great, we can say, insurance only, isn't it? permanent insurance. Ki, no problem. And this is always true, isn't it? Does the guru ever forsake a shishya? That is the question. Anybody? I think we've lost Rajivji, but yes, anybody. Does the guru ever forsake the shishya? Yes, anybody. What do you think about this?
न मे भक्त्या प्रणश्यति.
हमें Pranashti. Ji sir. Yes, Rajivji. So
एवं
once you
एवं
get the
पश्यति
ashray,
सर्वत्र
once
सर्वं च मयि पश्यति
जी
तस्याहं
जी.
न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति. So I'm
Yeah.
always there and he is always there with me. We never leave each other.
Because that is a very special bond, isn't it? Rajivji, you and your guru, that bond, it is a very special one, isn't it?
Yes, it is the most beautiful bond. There cannot be a bond anything better than that.
Mm. Have you ever felt that your guru has forsaken you, sir?
Never.
Never, isn't it? Even when he attained into the higher realm, he left this plane also physically, but
No,
his
in
presence is
fact,
there.
there is a growing realization that he hears my problems even ahead of me. So even before I tell him, I realize that yes, that there is an intervention which has happened. So it
Ji,
is
ji, ji.
so beautiful, actually.
Yes. Ji. So
So
what is the reason do you think Nirodban wanted to ask this question?
I'm sorry, actually, I wasn't
Okay, you missed the
there.
question. So all right.
So
Yeah. So okay, sir. Okay, sir. We'll then go to somebody. Anybody? Why do you think Dr. Nirodban asked this question?
because he got
Yes.
emotional.
He got emotional and he got a little. This fear is there, no? Because the Shishya who is suddenly, what will happen to my life without, will the moment come where I will get separated? Will the time come like that? And these are all doubts which are of some kind of emotional, as Aditi ji rightly said, isn't it? It's a little bit, this is natural also, we can say. But when somebody gets that clarity, then Mr. Sharon has underlined it. You throw that thought out of your head. We'll never be apart. That is a promise. And that is always that is a promise. Krishna also, as beautifully Rajiv ji quoted, Tasyaham na pranashyami. Kachamena pranashyati. That is so simple. That person will never be lost. That person will be never lost. That is a beautiful bond between a guru and a shishya. That bond is an eternal one. It is what we call Trikala Tita. Time will not be able to break that eternity of that. It is eternal. It cannot be stopped by that. So this is one thing we must all recognize. If we all are fortunate to be connected with our gurus, let us remember that Smaran should be there and never is there. Means distance is nothing. That is important. But Nirodharan still has a question. Dr. Nirodharan has a question. He asks again, or has it any concealed meaning? Sherwin replies, none. It is quite above board. Dr. Nirodharan goes on. He says, will you spare some moments to release a wave of inspiration for one or two good poems? Sherwin replies, that I don't know, provided the poems are there latent. So that's a tongue-in-cheek statement, sarcastic statement. Means Nirodharan is saying, no, there is unless there is something latent, it cannot manifest. He said it is not able to manifest. So what is Dr. Nirodharan trying to do? He's trying to write poetry. According to him, there is nothing inside of him, and yet he's asking for force. So Sri Aurobindo says, okay, but then maybe according to you, only if it is latent, then only I will be able to manifest it. So Sri Aurobindo also replies conditionally because Nirodharan is assigned that condition. He says, that I don't know. Provided the poems are there latent, then I'll be able to send my force. Dr. Nirodharan continues. He says, V's story turns out to be a history. Last 2 months, he has been taking the seeds starting with 5 to 7 seeds a day. The numbers rapidly rose to 26 to 30, divided among 3 meals. It is amazing. He had no bad symptoms, except a slight oily sensation in the throat at first. Immunity? Question mark. Tolerance by the system or another Khagananda in the ashram. Khagananda was a modern Hatha yogi, and I think in 1930s he was modern. For us, he has become ancient. Yes, so in 1930s, this was one more Hatha yogi. So he says it's the same patient's case, which was a surprise. Because how is it he has done repeatedly, he has made himself immune? What is the matter? Sri Aurobindo replies, he must have immunized himself. A modern Mithridates. Of course, the yogis do this kind of thing, and it is perfectly possible. But I did not realize that V was one of the great ones. He has, however, in these matters, the faith and audacity that moves mountains. Also, his intestines must be very leathery and tough. So Shriyanda says, okay. But one thing is, he's got a lot of faith, this particular sadhak, which can sometimes move mountains. And he asks, who is Khagananda? There was the public poison plus nails plus snake eater who died because once he forgot to do the antidotic kriya after his poison meal. But but that was, I think, another Ananda. There was another Hatha yogi who unfortunately killed himself because he had forgot, he made a mistake and did not do the kriya which is supposed to be an antidote. In Hatha Yoga, there is a different kriyas are done to stretch the limits of the body, make it tolerant to extreme heat, extreme cold. Like that, even weapons also. Sometimes people, sharpest of sharp weapons, people are able to harden their skins. I had a good or bad fortune connecting with one such person. It was many years back. Through some poetry we had connected, and then I was very young, but I liked his work, and so I told him, would you like to collaborate? Because I liked my poems, I thought were nice, and his photographs he had posted of his body being very, resistant. So he replied to me, नींद की गोली लो और सो जाओ. So, so that was the last time I contacted him. So, but this aspect of Hatha Yoga is sometimes you're making your body very, very resistant to all sorts of external forces. So he says, I don't know who you're talking about, but there was this another person. Sri Aurobindo doesn't remember his name exactly, but he says that was some other Ananda. Nirodbaran goes on. He says, it would be better if we stop taking these seeds. Who knows, it may not produce cumulative poisoning later. I learned that he has already done some Hatha Yoga. Sri Aurobindo replies, he must not stop suddenly, otherwise, all the symptoms of poisoning are likely to come up. If he stops, he must very gradually decreasing little by little. Mother finds him very grey. Perhaps he is undermining his system. But one does not know what to do with these fellows who start such things without reason or warning. You might discuss the matter with him and see what can be done. So, a small advice Sri Aurobindo has given is now quickly don't just stop suddenly. That will also be another shock that might lead to greater symptoms. Excuse me, sorry. Nirodbaran goes on. He says, the more we are seeing, the more that pessimistic attitude comes over me and the likes of you who want to supramentalize. But the book of verses says, the meaner the slave, the greater the Lord. Sri Aurobindo asks a question. What is this more that you are seeing? Dr. Nirodbaran, he goes on. He says, Jivan asked me what DRR's diet. Jivan asked me about DRR's diet. Is he under my jurisdiction? He's all right, except for slight pain. Just now we have given him Gumav. I don't know what this word is. Sri Aurobindo replies, that is right. He should take until the pain goes. You had better keep an eye on him till he is all right. He can have milk, but you must speak to Dyuman about it. Mother has already informed him, in case it is wanted. Dr. Nirodbaran, he goes on, I discussed the matter with V. He agrees to give up taking the seeds, if you wish it. He says that the seeds have done him a lot of good, cured his obstinate constipation and resistant piles. Besides, he doesn't notice any bad effect. Well, Shervindu replies, at any rate, he had better diminish the quantity and not increase it, and not advise others to take it. Of course, he must not stop it abruptly. As for the cure, it means that his bowels have become dependent on his artificial action. That is all. Shervindu goes on. Nirodban goes on. We gave DRR some bismuth and magnesium carbonate for the pains in his bowels. It is indicated as treatment. Shervindu replies, bismuth constipates. Enema of gumetive and tisane decoctions of gumev or linseed would be better. Nirodban, he asks, are you interested in seeing our monthly work? We can send you the reports of the cases tomorrow. Yes. That's interesting, isn't it? This is a yogi, and yogi is being given the small, small details of the patients and everything. So, I mean, Sri Aurobindo is working on a very big sadhana, which is supposed to transform supramentalized matter. But in that, why do you think Sri Aurobindo is wasting his own time in all of this? Anybody? Why do you think he's going into these details, these finer details? Anyone? What could be the reason? Could he have not saved himself from it or rescued himself from it? Anybody, can you probably just think why? Why should the guru go into these small, minute details? Or is it that every guru does do that? Goes into
Actually,
the
I feel
smallest.
it's more
Yes,
about the
Ravi.
nitty gritty or the bonding or the vibes that relationships share. So here, Dr. Nirodbaran and Sri Aurobindo, the tuning they have is quite different from what Sri Aurobindo had with other his shishyas.
Okay.
So, for
No,
example,
that
here
explains,
they
yes,
always
Juji,
joke
but
around.
that is explaining for the conversations. But I'm talking about the specific patients and cases.
Mm, maybe it's about nurturing more
You're
than
nurturing, and
just
he's consciously sending his force. He is consciously. Yes, Raghaviji. Yes, please.
To get
Yes,
into
ma'am.
the essence of each person's how their thought process and what actually they're feeling. Is it like
Hmm.
that, sir? Being such
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
humanitarian and being so
Ji.
empathetic, maybe to
Yeah. All right. Yes,
feel.
yes, yes. Actually, that is the true thing, because now he has Sri Aurobindo is, though everybody may say he is free, he is doing his sadhana, disconnected from the rest of the world, but so many have come under his aegis, isn't it? And the divine cares about every single person. We can see that same thing. He wants to go consciously into every single person's affairs also. Means though it means, Sri Aurobindo's 1 hour is equal to an hour of what creative writing, which maybe another 200 years, 300 years, world will not see. But he has spent so many hours in these discussions, which may appear trivial to us. But if you look at it, it shows how they say perfection or God is in the details. This was a beautiful pravachan I had seen by one great speaker. He had written, God is in the details, meaning you go into the little things. Little things, if you are conscious, you will understand. And that is what such, we see great personalities, great yogis, great gurus, they display these traits always. Means any shishya. Yes, Raghaviji, yes, please.
Like, say, you would tell us during the Gita classes, he could see the souls when he was in jail also.
Ah,
Aurobindo. So at
yeah,
this moment, I
Vasudevam
could only
Sarvamiti.
Vasudevan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, 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 absolutely. In the Alipur prison, everywhere he could see, and then suddenly he is relaxed. Means the divine is at play, but his daitva has been given. He has taken that daitva. He is going to take care. And this is true with everybody. I think Rajiv ji, if you can quote about your guru, he was also very empathetic to every shishya, isn't it? Going into the little details. Yes,
Yes.
sir. Any
Yes, there are
smaran
many.
which you can share of Swami
Yes,
Hariharji
there
Maharaj?
are many accounts which people have said. I mean, those who have worked very closely with him, that
Hmm.
he would caution people uh, while he found that there was a wrong decision that was being taken. I mean, he would forewarn them and tell them that this event will happen, but it will happen in the future, and this will happen in this manner. So
Hmm.
don't hurry up. Uh, I mean, it is
Any
specifically one
personal,
of.
any personal your experience, sir, if you would have, where you saw, yeah, this
Actually,
trivial matter also.
it has happened so many times. I mean, uh, issues that were supposed to take place, the matters changed, and nothing happened
Okay.
really what was anticipated. So and you could clearly see that there was intervention which actually happened.
Yes, sir.
There are many instances like this, not
Ji,
just
sir.
me,
Ji,
a
sir.
lot of other
Yes,
seniors
yes.
who have had a very long association with him.
Yes, sir.
So this generally happens with all who have reached that kind of a status,
Yes, sir.
that they do take their devotees.
It is a personal and yet impersonal love, isn't it? It is personally connected with everyone
Yes,
and yet, and that higher status, which is divine. Means, means sometimes Shishya
yes,
fight who is closer. I am closer, or that this Shishya is closer. But everybody is equally closer. Nobody is far, or
yes.
nobody. It is something, and that is the beautiful relation between a guru and Shishya, and we see that here.
That,
Yes, sir. Thank you for your insights.
that is
Ji, sir.
true.
So Nirodbaran goes on. Dr. Nirodbaran goes on. He says he describes when Sri Aurobindo had asked who is Kagananda. Kagananda. Sri Aurobindo replies, Kagananda is a Bengali Ananda who who exhibits these yogic tricks and is still on this earth. To other fellows you speak of was a the other fellow you speak of was a that time for people from Chennai they would call Madrasi. It was not like it was nothing disrespectful and is dead and gone by potassium cyanide. We are at a loss about Mithridates. The experts know only of one thing, a Persian king. Is he the one you allude to? But he had nothing to do with swallowing poisons. Shrivendu replies, the information of the experts is defective. Nobody can challenge Shrivendu's, especially when it comes to this mythology and all of what is Roman history, what has taken place and all. The information of the experts is defective. Mithridates, in order to guard himself against all possibility of poisoning, immunized himself by training his system to take all poisons, first by small, then by increasing doses. He did it so well when the Romans were after him in their genial manner, and he had no choice but death at their hands or his own. He could not take recourse to poison and had to hand himself by a vulgar perforation with steel. At least I think it was steel. He was not a Persian king, though he was of Indo Persian extraction, as his name shows. I believe he was king of Armenia or Bithynia or some such obsolete place in Asia Minor. Nirodban, he goes on, I propose to art to get my bureau painted in my spacious bathroom, as he has no other place. He is willing, if you will it. Sri Aurobindo says yes, but on one condition, on the condition he does not spoil the floor. You see, this is a doctor who has come, who has taken, they're all now very following a kind of austerity, and this is all sadhana. They do not want to waste the paint, they do not want to spoil anything. Every little thing is being looked after. And I think in our life also, we should look at moments as an opportunity for sadhana. instead of getting lost in a hurry of activity. We have to do activity. Sadhana does not mean not doing activity, it means doing activity consciously. Whatever we do, what we speak, what we talk, what we think, or even the smallest of action, let us do it consciously. It makes a difference. It really does. Sri Aurobindo Nirodhan goes on. He says, here are the medical reports. In inmates, workers, you may be surprised at the small volume of papers, but the actual number of cases attended is more than reported. If you want all, I will write down everything. Sri Aurobindo replies, don't. He underlines. It is all right. But if you gave a resume, number sadhaks, number workmen, number cases cured, number pending, that would complete it. Nirodban goes on. By the way, people get poems, pictures in meditation, and I seem to get only letters and points for letters. Since letters and discussions are interdicted, I have been obliged to draw inspiration from sleep, and I find that sleeping has a decided advantage in this yoga. So, so you see, people get this inspiration, people get different, but I'm only getting letters and points for letters. Meaning is thinking, what should I write now for Sri Aurobindo letter? What should I write? Should I write like this? Should I contradict this way? That is all he's getting. And so he says, and then he's obliged because he's not getting elsewhere. He's trying to draw inspiration from sleep. And he feels that this has a decided advantage. Sri Aurobindo replies, you get letters in meditation? That would be fine. It would save me the trouble of writing them. Simply project into your meditation instead of sending through Nalini. No objection to sleep. The land of Nod has also its treasures. One way it's better, no? Better than sleeping than being so depressed or being frustrated. So Sri Aurobindo says, it's okay, that's fine. Nirodhan goes on, I am thinking of doing some studies in English language. Not for any creative purpose, but for recreation. Sri Aurobindo says, all right. So this is very important in sadhana to grow your understanding. You have to learn things. There is no age for you to stop learning. Many times we feel we stop learning after our education is complete. The question is, when does the education get complete? It goes on, isn't it? Education is a lifelong thing. Maybe your degree is over, but after degree also people write different exams, people prepare for other things. Even if they don't write exams, they still can learn at all times. And that is something we must learn. Many times we feel, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. That is exactly what you should try to do. Just to widen your perspective, to widen your understanding. Somebody who has never sung must try to sing. Somebody who has never danced must try because that is one more aspect of our personality. It has to blossom. We must work on it. March 1935. Let's continue. Nirban he says, with this aim in view, I want to take up your immortal philosophy, though my walnut of a brain can't do much with it. And if you will allow, have some discussions with you at intervals. Sri Aurobindo replies, provided the discussions can be put in a walnut shell instead of in a nutshell. Sri Aurobindo has a great sense of humor, which is always a great source of ananda only for everybody. So here, it says this walnut-sized brain. He says, if you can put it in a walnut shell, then I don't mind the discussions. Nirodban, he says, I hear you are having a tough fight with the forces. Sri Aurobindo replies, very beastly, these forces. One can't advance a single step without their throwing their shells and stink bombs. However, like General Joffre, I advance. Now we progressed, the French word is written. Now you see, Sri Aurobindo was also dealing with what we call forces, which were on the occult level. Even in the World War, there were generals and all who had not seen Sri Aurobindo or heard him and had his experience. How? From one place in here in Pondicherry, locked inside of a room, and yet connected with that time there was no network also like we have, isn't it? This internet network connecting people, and yet they had a different Wi-Fi, all these yogic people. They could communicate with each other, they could send messages, they could receive. So this is what he was finding, and then the sadhaks would get some information, some experiences, because among sadhaks there were different sadhaks of different receptivity. Each one would get a different amount. It's like this is perception, isn't it? I think we must have, if we have a spiritual circle, in our spiritual circle, we will see different people with different talents, different capacities. Some persons can grab some things from certain places. Some people will not be able to see it even if it's in their print. But these are all different things. So somebody is passed on the message. Kisi Shervindo's having some difficult fight going on the level of the forces. So he asks that immediately. Sherwindo doesn't hide it. Instead, he just tells it in a simple manner. He says, yes, these are beastly forces. One single step means if the yogi is only finding difficulty to advance without resistance, can we expect a path free of any resistance in our life? We all want it, no? We don't want resistance. I want everybody to appreciate me, my brother, my sister, my father, my mother. All should say, oh, very good, and everybody will keep clapping, and so flowers will be thrown, and I'll keep walking on that red carpet. That is the ideal, but it never happens. It never happened from Kurukshetra's times only. This is Prakriti. This is Prakriti. Prakriti will bring resistance. Your own closest ones will become we can say, your big opponents. Sri Aurobindo had written beautifully. His enemies are the ones he came to save. How difficult is that? The ones you are saving are your enemies. And then, there was a rumor, I do not know how true it is, that these words were also removed from the what Sri Aurobindo had written. Somebody tried to remove it. I think it's back now, but I don't know. I'm not into that inner circle. But it's very interesting how the forces play, and the forces play everywhere. So we don't have to get overwhelmed when we see suddenly, oh, what is this? I am alone. Why am I not having any support? It's all right. Even Sri Aurobindo had to fight these forces. Let us be brave followers of the divine. Let us stand strong, let us be firm. Let us be firm, and for that we need a confidence, and that confidence comes from your own Shraddha. Your Shraddha sthan should be Dhrida. That will not shake. My Shraddha sthan is so firm, I can take on the entire world. Everybody tells me everything bad about me also. It shouldn't make a smallest difference. Nobody's encouraging a good work that I want to do. Big deal. So what? Why do I need encouragement? This is not for encouragement that I am doing this work. It is as an offering to the divine. That is the way because that will allow us to move ahead. So this is something we see about forces. Well, yes, forces are at play. They are always at play. We call it Asuri forces also are at play. Then just like Asuri, there are Devi forces also. So connect with the divine, move ahead. Remaining will be taken care of. Nirodban goes on. He says, if we busy ourselves with something like the study of English language, as I have started, it may indirectly help to keep the devil off. He's only started this and he's saying, maybe this will be a help as an insurance from the keeping the devil off.
As I have stated,
Sorry?
it's as I have stated, not started.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah. I was wrong in reading that. If we busy ourselves with something like the study of the English language, as I have stated, it may indirectly help to keep the devil off. Sherwinder replies, let us hope so. There is much need of keeping him off, and if the English language can do it, glory be to the English language. So, chalo, take care, good. If that is going to work for you, fine, go ahead. Nirodbaran has a complaint. He says, you thrashed me for calling you grave and austere at the darshan time, 23 to 1935. But see, when we go to the mother, how seraphically she smiles. While yourself being near, appears still far away at some Olympian height. It is difficult to discern the gravity or the jollity of a face at such a height. But I suppose our conception of gods was formed from the vision of such a figure. So he's giving his experience at the darshan. You see how beautifully mother is smiling? And look at you. You are sitting like this, like you are so far away. What is there on your face? I'm not able to understand at all. He's complaining. Shrivandu replies, neither gravity nor jollity, but a large, easy, quiet, amiable condition. The gods can't be amiable, is the question. Gods can't be friends. Nirodhan goes on, the very fact that there remains no question about the mother's feeling and attitude shows that we are not probably all wrong and devoid of sense. So he says, you can't blame me. See, mother's attitude, we are not finding anything wrong, but yours only we see difference. So you can't say we are all wrong. So maybe we are telling correctly, you should change, is what he's indicating to his master. Shrivananda replies, look here, what are you saying? The mother's feeling and attitude are being constantly questioned by the sadhaks. You didn't smile. You were severe. You were displeased with me. You don't love me. What wrong have I done? Etc. etc. Much to the mother's astonishment, as she had no consciousness of such things in her. So even the mother, some people are saying, but others are saying, see, look at how it is. You don't have, you're angry with me. You are very severe. The darshan, when it used to happen, they would go and they would see the mother instead of looking at or instead of receiving from the higher consciousness, they were all going at what is the outer appearance. Namleji had met one sadhak who had seen the mother from close. Even there was this Kusumben. I used to very much enjoy going to meet her. It was like for me meeting the mother only because mother had touched her and so many things. So I would go to deliver the products. And for me, that was the greatest joy. But she told that the feeling of seeing the mother was a great calm, peace, a quiet descent. And the senior sadhak whom Damleji had met, he said somebody who describes how the mother is has not seen the mother at all. Because this is just outer appearance. When they talk about like Krishna had told Arjuna, isn't it? Divyam dadami te chakshuhu. I will give you the inner eye to see that which is beyond what is on the physical. Physical we will see, today you will feel physical is good. Now see this person is smiling. Next, this person is so serious. All these are all outer personalities. But the job was about receiving the power. So, but many sadhaks didn't understand it. That's why they had these wrong notions. Nirodban goes on, but Nirodban has this tendency of holding on to his point until he's completely thrashed till the last minute and he has no option, he cannot flee. Then he goes on to another point. Normally, one would think after one has been deflated, that person will be quiet and move ahead. No, he just jumps to another one. So he goes on, he says, a smile may be nothing to some, but if you look at it a little sympathetically and humanly, you will give it its proper importance, considering the fact that one has left behind all joys and pleasures of life and come to a desert, at least at the primary stage. You can't ask us to be above all expectations of touches of soft breezes, can you? So here he's again complaining. See, we have come to a desert. We have left everything and come to do sadhana under you. He's calling his ashram a desert. He says all of us have left all comforts. All joys and pleasures of life have been left aside. So for some people means he's indirectly referring sarcastically to Sri Aurobindo. For you, smile may be nothing. But you see, for us, it is so important. You need to smile for us at least. Because we have done so much, we have left everything. The question is, when one goes to an ashram, when one does this surrender and goes, is it that the person loses all the happiness? Is it like Sri Aurobindo, as Narotparan has said, desert, going to the ashram of your guru? Anybody? I think many of us must have gone to different ashrams, different places. What is the feeling there? Yes, yes, Raghaviji. Yes, please.
It's the beginning of limitless joy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is the beginning of
exuberant,
limitless joy. That, yes, but
infinite
then,
happiness.
yes, absolutely. But then again, then there is this is the path. So sometimes we go for a short period. There are some, now in the case of Dr. Nirodbaran, he's very young. At a young age, he left his prime position in the medical fraternity. He has left everything, and so he is talking about it. Plus, he is also being a little humorous. So that is something we must take into consideration. But still, it's somewhere missing the point when he says that. That much is also true. Nirodharan Sri Aurobindo replies. He says, "The poet says, or ought to have said, it is the mind that makes it hell or heaven. The proof is that some people find it for a long time not a desert, but as they call it, a paradise. Of course, it is neither. It is what one makes of it." Meaning the same thing what we saw in the Gita. Atmaiva bandhuratmana, atmaiva ripuratmana. The self is the friend, self is the foe. Damleji had told me you are having a very good period of life. That was the period I was writing the Gita also in rhymes and all of it. Damleji told me it is a good period. So I was very happy. And that entire year got over, and then he told me that this was your worst period. I was like, what? You told me it was a good period. I was like, what is the meaning of this? I was quite innocently, sincerely asking, why did you say that? I was like, why did you say that? It was not true. And he said, see, this was the period where people come onto the streets. Biggest, according to the Jyotish Shastra, according to the what we can say astrology, the person comes there. Nothing good happens. And for me, the entire year, I believed it was to be my most best period. So, what do you think? Who is right? Is astrology right? Is Damleji right? Or if why did Damleji say that to me then? Anybody? What do you think would be the reason? Grahas are speaking a truth then. But they are speaking a truth, then how can this? Because Jyotish Shastra is also a Shastra which has a science. So according to the Jyotish Shastra, the Grahas were such in aligned in such a position that nothing good would come out of it. Worst of the worst periods that is possible in a lifetime was that. And yet I did not get that experience. Anybody, what do you think could be the reason? Just as a guess, if anybody would like to. Yes, Raghaviji. Yes, please.
You are what you think and what you become.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I was under the chhatra or the chaya of my guru, so there I'm not worried. When I looked back, I saw, oh, these are all some really bad things. Oh, I felt so sad that time. This should not have happened. But that was in retrospect. But at that time, I'm still not worrying about it. Something bad has happened. I have fallen. I've got hurt. It's okay. I can walk ahead. I'm able to ignore it and move ahead. It is something like that. So what Dr. Nirodbaran is calling a desert is a paradise for somebody. So many call it paradise. The same place people have gone and got opposite experiences in the same place. I know of two people for after their parents had passed away, they went to perform those rites. They went to go for getting the arti also. They went, and what was the experience at the same place? One person says it's hopeless, it's become too commercial. I didn't feel anything. And only negative, you can see the wrinkles on the brow of that person while talking. And the other person is experiencing how that person got the experience of ananda, the tears of joy, everything in the same place, same kala. I had the good opportunity of hearing two people narrate the same place, different experiences. It is all, it's not that the place suddenly changed. It was the atmosphere which that person cultivated inside. It was the consciousness. So it depends on the individual. Your greatest, most challenging moments also can become the most enjoyable moments of life, most blissful moments of life when you have that knowledge. Rajiv wants to say something, is that so? Yes, sir. Do you want to add something, sir? Please unmute, sir. Please unmute, sir. Please unmute, sir.
Yeah. Am I? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, here, I mean, while I was reading this, and it is the mind that makes it hell or heaven. That is one statement. And at the end of it, he says, it is what one makes of it. It is neither. Okay. So, of course, it is neither. That, I mean, it is neither this nor that, actually. Like, for example, if I look at it, basically, like, let's say in the Gita, it is said, Matra Svarshastu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadaha. There is bound to be a reaction which could go anyways, that is there. It is temporary in nature, and you have to keep your mind calm or do not. That is something which is meant by Titiksha. Okay, Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. I mean, that is what is Titiksha. What I think Arvind is trying to say over here is none of those reactions that are there is whether it is bad or whether it is good. I mean, it is neither of that, and that is what it is. I mean,
Gee.
that state is something which he is hinting at. I mean, that is the way I look at it. Maybe
No,
I
it
could
is
be
true.
wrong
No,
in
no,
what
no, it
I'm
is
saying, but
not
this is the
wrong.
way I
It
think.
is, yeah. No, no, sir. It is beautifully said, sir. What you have given a beautiful another point because this is beyond what is positive and negative. Shubha, Shubha. What is Shubha? What is
Correct.
Ashubha? If there is
Correct.
this, there's a Dharana mantra before the Atma Shatakam, which is chanted. In that, there's a like the last part, which is a very beautiful mantra. Chit Kalyanam Hrudaye Nityam Sevya Seva Sevakarahitam Praptam Paramapadam Shantam Vimala Sukham. Meaning, Sevya Seva Sevakarahitam means who is the person who is doing seva? That also is there's like one person is doing seva for another person. Who is receiver? Who is doing this also? This bhed is disappeared. That is itself gone. And what is there? Chit Kalyanam, Hrudaye Nityam. I want to purify my consciousness. It is eternally there. When this attitude is there, then that person reaches the highest state, which I think Rajesh has talked about. See, one is a positive and one is negative. Both are two
Yes.
ends, no? But there is something beyond this also what we call Dvandvatita,
Correct.
which is that state. So this is one more very nice. This is beautiful aspect of sharing those words when we go deeper, no? We can see certain deeper meanings also. So this is something, right? Mind can make it
Look
pleasurable
like a desert, or it could make it
as
look
a
like a
paradise.
paradise also. But the fact is that it is neither
It
a
is,
paradise nor a desert.
yeah, it is beyond. So that is something which is very truly said. Thank you, sir, for that insight. Yes,
Okay.
what one makes of it, and one must understand to become quiet. One has to become
Yes.
quiet on the outside. Even in that
Right.
shloka, Praptam Paramapadam
Prashantam Manasa.
Shantam Vimala Sukham. Vimala Sukham is nothing but Sachidananda only. It is Vimala, which is without any kind of mala, or which is without any kind of, uh, it is immaculate. Immaculate what? Immaculate peace, immaculate happiness. And it comes naturally when you go to that state. So, yes, let us just look at um, two more questions and then
So,
we.
sir,
Yes, Raghavji?
Dvandvatita is a state of mind, sir.
Yes, Dvandva means Atita is transcending. Atita in Sanskrit means transcending. So Dvandva Atita means that which is crossing the opposites. No? Dvandva is this divide, like the Bheda, which is created, two different, Dvandva, two. This is true, this is false. But beyond truth and false is what we call Rutam in the Rig Veda, which is the highest truth, the supreme consciousness. So we have to reach that state where then reconciliation will happen. Reconciliation even of matter and spirit. Reconciliation of opposites. People we like, people we dislike. People we like give us happiness. We feel we are in heaven when we are with those people we like. People we dislike, even if we don't see them and we think of them only, we feel we're in hell. We get irritated just this person, no, see this person like this only. I thought this person will behave this way. Look at this person. Our mind starts programmed in a manner, it starts continuously creating. This is sanskara, no? So one is this sanskara, one is the other sanskara, good and bad. Both are sanskaras, when actually these are additional. Sanskaras are some coverings over what is the higher, what is our soul, which is free from everything. So we have to, maybe bad sanskaras we are going away, it's all right initially. Remove the unnecessary sanskaras. That can be anything. That can be Purva Janma sanskara or even in this Janma, because of continuously people have been telling you are useless or you are not good at this. Many times, people are very talented, but because people have been telling, no, this person is like this, it creates a sanskara and it becomes reinforced. So we have to first start, if in the sadhana's path, we have to first remove the bad sanskaras. Then we have to even transcend the good sanskaras. We'll not say remove good sanskaras, but experience them and then slowly transcend. And that is the period where we have to reach the stage where we have to reach. Yes, Raghaviji. So, yes, let us just then continue. Nirodbaran goes on. He comes back to his usual. I am thinking of taking some milk tea and butter in the morning. Will it be a move to the left? If so, I give it up at once. So every now and then, Dr. Nirodbaran's tea and biscuit tea, can I have tea? Can I have this? It comes in. That's his cheat for him in sadhana. Some people like me have chocolates. I go and irritate Damleji. Can I eat chocolate? Then he has to look at me and then he says, looking at you and looking at your face, I feel horrible to tell no, so I let you go. But you have to decide for yourself if you want to eat it or you don't want to. So it's something like that. Dr. Nirodbaran, he replies, he says, Sri Aurobindo replies, he says, butter in milk tea? Never heard of such a meal before. It is symbolic of the supramental. So he says this must be some supramental manifestation happening. We look at one aspect of a one dream which Nirodbaran had, that will stop with this. Dr. Nirodbaran writes, he says, last night I had a peculiar dream. I saw mother in a half reclining position, writing something playfully on my forehead with a finger, and you entreated her smilingly to write more. Now, what is this? Result of my groaning complaint? Effectuation in dreamland? What couldn't be in the world of fact and reality? He's got an experience that also he's doubting. One side he's saying, what is this? Is it having some higher meaning or something which will never happen in this real life? That only I'm seeing. What is it? Is what he's asking. Sri Aurobindo replies, and we stop here with this. Let us keep an close watch on what Sri Aurobindo is talking about. The place where you were is as much a world of fact and reality as is the material world, and its happenings have sometimes a great effect on this world. What an ignorant lot of disciples you all are. Too much modernization and Europeanization by half. These things are meetings in the vital plane, but very often in the transcription of what happened, some details get in that are contributed by the subconscious mind. The writing on the forehead means, of course, something that is fixed in you in the vital plane and has to come out hereafter in the physical consciousness. It is also said some of the sadhaks were advised to maintain dream diaries. Why? Because through dreams also you can understand. But now, if you just look at this part alone, first thing is, first Sri Aurobindo has said, see, this is as much a world of fact and reality as the material world. So, one thing we don't have to quickly underestimate the dreams. There is some truth in the dreams. That is number one. We don't have to dismiss it because Dr. Nirodban had a good one, isn't it? He saw this, he saw a vision of something, but he like even that Vishwarupa Darshana which Renuka ji had of 21st batch, I remember, I can never forget it in my life. She called it a dream afterwards. He said, "Is it a dream?" Then she said, "No," because she got another experience immediately. She said, "How is this possible?" In USA, she got a Vishwarupa Golu immediately. That's right after her dream. How can it happen in such a country where least possible then she stopped considering it only as a dream. But the fact that what she saw was so crystal clear, it was so precious. It was something which I even shared it with a friend of mine who is a director. I said, if you make a movie, we had long back over a kulfi, we had bonded and planned that Gita movie will be made. I still don't know if it will be manifested, but I just shared it to him and said, see, if at all a movie has to be made, this is how the Vishwarupa should appear because even in the Gita, that depth and everything what she got. So that is very much true. What was there and what she went through in her life is also too much to experience it. She has got so much suffering, all of that aside. But there is a truth in all of this. It enters into our life, it enters into these dreams also can, if you are alert, you can understand its meaning as well. So this is one thing.
But these dreams, like for sadhaks or for everyone, we can
So
find some.
dreams come to everybody, isn't it, Aditi
Yes,
ji?
yes. So
What is the difference between Sathak and everyone, Aditi ji?
they
What do you
will be
think is the
more
difference?
conscious, so they will be more.
So there will be more conscious, meaning they are more alert, meaning they are doing sadhana, meaning they are getting free from all their desires, the impulses from these rajasic desires or rajasic thoughts or tamasic thoughts. Aspirations are not material, isn't it? So such dreams are likely to be different.
Mm,
What will the alcoholic dream of?
mm.
Swarga is what for an alcoholic? Unlimited supply of alcohol. Nothing more than that. But is that unlimited supply of alcohol a experience of Swarga Loka? No. This is just a attraction to what we can say to the senses, isn't it? So he may get an experience if by God's kripa he may get a darshana of the divine. But there will be an interference of that darshana also. He will see darshan of divine giving him one bottle. That is because these are interference from the subconscious. So a sadhak who is very pure in conscience, whose sadhana is very firm, that person is able to actually see clear dreams. Otherwise, in general people, there are always interferences. Somebody talked bad of me in the party. That's it. That will come differently in the dream. A different person will come and again talk bad about you, and that will not be what we call a higher aspect. Otherwise, people get dreams of a like here he got a dream of something being written on the forehead, something like that, or something being pressed, touched. Some people get the experience of having a baby. After menopause, people don't have babies according to medical science. But why is this person getting a dream of having a baby? The sadhak immediately gets worried. What is the meaning of this? Am I going to have a child now? Because it was a clear dream. But this could mean a birth of a new consciousness, a new beginning, a new start in sadhana. So that is where the dreams have to be understood, then they can be interpreted, but we don't have to dismiss them. In there, sometimes people have horrible dreams also. They go in the opposite end. So what people should do? Learn to keep it, they understand that there are influences of various planes where they come from. And that sometimes people see a lion in the dream. Somebody sees a serpent. Each of this a gaja, all of this have a kind of a different experience, but they have a meaning. They have a meaning. Here, Shervindo's, I mean, Dr. Nirodbaran got a dream, no, of mother and Shervindo. It was something. It was his sadhana was going ahead, and so in the subtle, in the vital plane, what Shervindo talks about, these are planes of existence. Maybe in future we will be able to study them in detail. Like we call the material plane, there is equally a vital plane. There is an overmental plane. Highest is that supramental plane. So there are actualities which are possibilities there, which manifest in the material. Many possibilities are there. But those possibilities, until they become pratyaksha, until they become prakat, we don't know. So we get some indications in the dreams. That's all we can. We don't need to read too much into it. Damleji's father had told him, you will see gods, you will also see ghosts. Don't give importance to both. And that was something very important, I think. Because in our Delight family, only there's a person who got horrible dreams of some previous birth that is affecting the current birth. And the person is saying, I am a victim of what happened in those dreams. The person has been abused badly in the previous birth, is what that person understood. And the gory details, everything are too much. There's blood and all of it. But because of that, this birth, can a person spoil it? Can a person afford to live this entire life? Ki, no, I am a victim. Victim of what? Of last birth. Last birth story is over. Now you are in a new birth, new life. New current birth is so important, what you are living. But I am now doubting everybody, seeing everybody. I said, do you doubt me also? No, I'm not. But generally, if on the street I see anybody, I'm full of. So, what is all of this? These are all past sanskaras. These are coming very sharply from subconscious. What are the reasons? We don't know. Those have to be explored, those have to be eliminated. But let us understand that probably, maybe we can start becoming more. Means you see the light, the beautiful thing, writing on the forehead means, of course, something that is fixed in you, in the vital plane, and has to come out hereafter in the physical consciousness. So, this is where I think we can conclude today's session. That yes, let us become conscious if we want to understand. Everything else is fine. Butter tea also is fine. It may be supramental, as Sri Aurobindo has said. We don't know. But I don't know. Anybody has tried butter tea? 1935 to 2025.
No, he will say that butter means bread and butter, not butter tea.
Acha, okay. In the
Next.
next one. In the next, okay, he's clarifying it. Okay. Right. I think when desires come inside of a person, then the person starts giving funny explanations about it. So that is natural. All right. Can someone summarize anything that we've seen today? Yes, anybody? Nobody has responded. I think then Chitraji, as usual. Yes, please.
Yes. So we see the case of the poisoning of the castor seeds in a sadhak, and that case. And we also got to see that this person seemed to be a practitioner of Hatha Yoga, and that could have also helped him developing great immunity against the amount of the poisonous seeds that he had consumed. Also, we saw that Sri Aurobindo provides his assurance that he will not forsake Dr. Nirodbaran for the
Mhm.
question that he had asked, and some conversations around the patients and reports, the case summaries. So we saw a few things around that. And we also saw that even in Sri Aurobindo's, uh, I mean, when he also has been battling with some negative forces. So they also try to keep deterring him from progressing, but however, he is unshakable. And also, we see that Dr. Nirodbaran has started to do some studies in English for lower forces. And Dr. Nirodbaran says that it would be good if Sri Aurobindo also can smile sometimes. That can make sadhaks feel much better as he perceives currently the ashram as a desert. So to which Sri Aurobindo says that it is the mind that creates all these perceptions. For many of the sadhaks, the ashram has become a paradise. So it's just it's in the mind. is what we saw. And also the last thing what we saw was about the dream aspect
Ji.
of
Yeah.
Dr.
Yes. So
Nirodbaran.
yes. Yes. So this one small question about was it wrong when Dr. Nirodbaran asked him this question, "Ki will you ever forsake me?" Was it wrong to ask this question? Because as a general rule, the Guru never forsakes. So was it wrong, or what if it was not wrong, what was right about it? From Dr. Nirodbaran's perspective, if we feel.
Actually,
I mean,
until now, uh,
Yes, Aditya then we'll come to
yep.
Chitraji. Yes, Aditya please go
yeah,
on. Yeah.
actually, until now, Dr. Nirodbaran has been in a lot of doubt and
Yeah.
whether he's capable. Like earlier, first he talked about women, then he talked about
Hmm.
that people have latent capabilities, everybody is not capable. So he's always been battle. He has some battles of self-doubt.
Okay.
So with I think with these questions, little he can get comfort and
Okay.
confidence. So from his perspective, it is all right, I feel.
All right. So, okay, Aditya says it's all right from this perspective. It gets confidence. Yes, Chitraji, what were you saying?
I think he just to put it across because he didn't want to assume later if at all it was because he was already feeling low because of a lot of things, and he just didn't want this to be there as a doubt within him that if at all I'm not able to progress or something, and he just didn't want
It
those
is for him
questions to
a
be
permanent
inside him.
insurance, isn't it, against every doubt?
Yeah,
Like
assurance.
chance,
Yeah.
chance मार लिया उसने. He has asked, let me quickly ask. Let me ask. And Sharvin says, I'll never forsake you. I'll be always there. And he's like, okay. So this is something he will keep it with himself. This must have been one of his most precious letters, kept very close to his heart, because that itself, that becomes a promise. Just as how Krishna's promise, Yoga Kshemam Vaham Yaham. This is a promise. Some sadhaks hold it close to the heart, that they just keep that in this mind. See, Krishna has promised he will never leave me. I am going to always have this company of my friend who is always going to be with me, no matter what. And that gives a great source of strength. So I think it's not wrong at all to get it clarified. It's very nice. And then that is a permanent stance. So that Nirodharan may be changing his stance. Sri Aurobindo never changes, isn't it? So that will be a permanent blessing for him. So yes, it is not wrong at all. From the Shishya's point of view, that's a golden moment which can be etched forever in the heart of that Shishya. So with this, let us conclude. Thank you again, Chitraji, for a wonderful summary. Punar Milama, we will meet again next Sunday as we continue. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् see you everybody namaskaram thank you namaskar
Hari
any
Om.
queries yes hari om
Hari
no
Om.